Hello everybody, it's me Farham. We're here with some Path of Exile 2 today, checking out a build on the Smith of Katava. We are being a Stompy boy, we are using trample toes, and we are scaling damage based on our overkill. We can clear whole screens, we can do tier 4 bosses. By do tier 4 bosses, well you'll see, I'll showcase King of the Mists, I'll showcase Xesht. You have to be able to do the fight, but the character's got more than enough damage to actually chonk them down and get through it. You just have to kind of pay attention. Really fun build, really tanky in maps, really smooth. Is definitely the sort of build that you could take all the way to level 100. You can get this thing running tier 16, juiced up Delhi XP maps, and it will just clear them like it was a tier 1. It doesn't matter. It just blows everything up, which you will see in the showcase. There is a written guide, guys, so check out the description. That's on Mobilytics if you want to check that out. And without any more preamble from me, let's take a look at the skills for this thing. So these skills then, talking a little bit also about how it plays. So our primary ability for mapping is Rake. Rake does 396 DPS, this is fine. What we're actually looking for is Stomping Ground. So Stomping Ground has an ability called Shockwave, deals 100 to 150% of your strength as physical damage, and as you can see as we cast the ability, the little sort of pulse that comes out of us afterwards, that's the Shockwave. We've got this boosted up with Fire Infusion to help our Chernobogs, Splinter to help with Armor Break, that helps on bosses, Close Combat to do more damage to the first thing we hit, and Heft for more maximum physical damage. You can actually swap the Heft and Execute around for mapping if you like. It's perfectly fine, it do a bit more damage, do better explosions, but Heft is actually good enough. So what happens is, when we break and our Stomping Ground goes off, we're stacking strength, we've got 909 strength. That triggers Trample Toes, everything blows up. Everything just chain explosions out, because we overkill so much with Stomping Ground. The other ability that we use for mapping is Shield Charge. This has got Ingenuity, Second Wind, Martial Tempo, Momentum, and Culling Strike. You can also use the Culling Strike to kill bosses as well for the last 5% if the totems are being a bit slow about it. It's actually good enough that if you hit a small enough enemy, you'll start the chain explosion from Trample Toes. So it's mobility in maps because we have really low movement speed at 16.9%, which does get boosted a little bit by our tree, but not too much. So they're the two skills there. So Shield Charge around, hit things, they explode. If anything's left over, Rake, they explode even more. When it comes to bossing, there's another set of abilities we use. Ancestral Warrior Totem. This is with Rolling Slam. You want this at level 21. You want Rolling Slam at level 21 as well. You want this with Concentrated Effect, Heavy Swing, Brutality, and Execute. This will do the most boss damage. You want Orb of Storms. Again, this is only for bossing. Persistence, Font of Rage, Font of Blood, and Arcane Tempo. Gives you rage, gives you health back. It's great. Vulnerability, again, only for bossing. You should be able to run it at level 19, high level as you can. Heightened Curse, Focus Curse, Curse Ground, Ritualistic Curse, Magnified Effect. Strips off the enemy's armor, makes Ancestral Warrior Totem do significantly more damage. Voltaic Mark, you do a little bit of lightning damage, so if you do manage to shock, it does a bit more damage, but it's mostly here to apply single out, so they have armor broken equal 10% of physical damage taken. That means that if you're running around dodging stuff on bosses, your Ancestral Warrior Totem is more than capable of breaking its own armor. Running Berserk with Precision and Vitality. If you can't get to the 130 Spirit, that is a really expensive check mark on this with how I've done it. You can drop Vitality, it's fine. Herald of Ash with Fire Mastery and Time of Need with Fast Forward. So this heals us every 7 seconds. This really helps with mapping, actually. The way curses work now, they go on the floor, they hit you. They normally last for 20 seconds. Time of Need, they're generally gone within a few seconds. So you can run things like Temp Chains maps on this, and it just really doesn't feel bad. So it's really, really good at mapping because it can basically ignore the only map modifier I found as a problem is recovery of life and energy shield, because you don't recover any life back and eventually you just get worn down. But other than that, this thing's been really, really good through all the sorts of maps I've taken it through so far. But that's the skills. Nothing too complex. Just blow things up with your one ability. Your movement ability also blows things up. And on bosses, you just need to make sure these totems are down while you're dodging stuff. And you will have to dodge stuff for a minute. It's not a fast boss killer by any stretch of the imagination. But because you don't have to get up close and personal with the boss all the time, it's good to be close to them for the presence area, of course. But you can sort of focus on what they're doing and maneuver around. Let's take a little look at the passive tree, and then we'll jump over to the gear of this build as well. We are, of course, a chunky Smith boy, and we are grabbing Cold Stoker and Forged in Flame, so that's modifiers to fire resistance also grant cold and lightning at 50%, and maximum fire resistance is also maximum cold and lightning. Take a little look at our character screen. What does this mean? We've got 90% all res. Most of that's from the gear, a little bit of it's from the skill tree as well. We're also grabbing Smith's Masterwork, and from this we're grabbing 5% max life per second regen, 25% of fizz damage taken as fire damage. That's important in how that links up with our Ruby Charm for our rage. Body armor grants 20% increased strength, and body armor grants 15% increased max life. Looking out at the tree, we're using a weapon switch. We're using 22 points on each. Broadly speaking, I'll go over this tree quite fast. As I said, it's all in the description. It's all in the Mobalytics guide if you wanted to take a deeper look. But we're grabbing Relentless. We're coming out, and on weapon set 1, which is mostly going to be block and area, and on weapon set 2, we're going to see totem skills. We're grabbing out round to Devastation. Then we come up and we grab round to Carved Earth. We grab all of the totem placement speed as well. This is to make sure that we can switch to our totems and get them out fast enough in Sims. We come up and we grab the Beef Cross. A couple of these are only assigned to weapon set 1. That's just for assignment reasons, and I didn't have anything else to want to assign. We grab the Megalomaniac. This has got Hefty Unit, which covers all of our stun. I strongly recommend getting one with Hefty Unit on it. It's actually amazing with this build. The other thing can be anything you want that gives some fizz damage. You'll probably be able to find something pretty good out there, but Hefty Unit's the important one. You never get stunned. You don't need a stun charm. Then we come down, grab Brute Strength, Giant's Blood, and Unnatural Resilience. This gets us pretty much to our cap, along with our Inferno Clasp. Coming round, we grab all of the totems here on weapon set 2. We have over here a From Nothing. The From Nothing is going into Unwavering stance, and from here we are grabbing Finality with the 2 damage against low life nodes. We are grabbing Hail Heart for the 15% increased life recovery rate, and we're grabbing Bulwark. Now the reason we're grabbing Bulwark is actually for tier 4 bossing. This character's slow, and there's certain attacks that the tier 4 bosses do that even if you dodge roll, you're so slow you won't get out of them. I'm thinking like the Xesht Hand Slam. This 30% damage reduction actually means that you recover from it and doesn't kill you, so it's actually quite important to grab that. Come around, we grab Ruby. On the Rubies, we want to have a couple with 7% increased block chance. You want at least one with gain 1 rage on melee hit, just to keep the rage sustained once the charm is procced. Other than that, you want things like life regen. You want totem placement speed, weapon swap speed, damage with maces, that sort of stuff. I recommend getting 2 with totem placement speed and 2 with weapon swap speed. Again, it just really smooths out what is quite a slow transition when you're trying to switch between putting your totems out and casting other skills when you're particularly in Sims. So that's on the jewels there. Anyway, keep it on coming around. More totems here. Again, grabbing that totem placement speed. That's just on weapon set 2. On weapon set 1, we're grabbing Authority and Crushing Judgment. On weapon set 1, sorry, that's area stuff. We grab the Attribute Star, going around to Polymathy and Jack of all Trades. We're stat stacking, minor stat stacking. Come up this way and grab the Jewel Socket. That's where we've got our From Nothing. Another Jewel Socket here. Then we come up and come back down. We grab Movement Speed and Adrenaline Rush. We're really slow. This helps us a bit in maps. There's like 10% movement speed there. We come up and grab Glancing Blows. This doubles our block chance. We've got a lot of skill points that are also giving us damage from our block chance, including our Chernobog, so we want to get that up to 75%. On weapon set 1 for our shields, we grab down to Parrying Motion. Coming up this way, weapon set 1 again, grab the shields down to Lay Siege for the 1% damage for 1% chance to block. We grab Hard to Kill and Quick Change Act. This is really important for Sims. If you're not running Sims at all, you can drop these 2 nodes and take something else. Then we come around and grab all of the low life nodes here, so close to our start. Coming up off the other branch, we come up and grab Titanic for the 5% increased strength. We grab Blood Magic, and then we grab on weapon set 1, round to Primal Growth, and there's another Jewel Socket here as well. That's the skill tree, so defensively we're focused on block, and we're stacking strength for lots of life. Offensively, and we've got an anointment as well. The anointment on our neck, which is our Stellar Amulet, is offensive stance, 1% increased damage per 1% chance to block. 75% chance to block, so we've got offensive stance and Lay Siege for 150% damage from our block. We've got 1% of fire damage per 1% chance to block, so we've got that coming from the Chernobyls too. And then we've got all of the low life as well. We have to get pretty close to the bosses for that to work. We haven't got any extra presence area. You can get up this way and get this presence area here. I didn't feel it was worth it. It's easier just to hug to the boss and do a bit more damage. But that's the tree. Let's have a quick look at the gear. This gear then. So I'll talk about some pieces where I've maybe invested a little bit more, but where you could invest less. A lot of pieces for this build, though, are quite cheap. There's just a couple of things that have got a bit of a price tag on them. So for your weapon, you want a Sky Sliver. Why do you want this? Because you just want as much attack speed as you can. The best runes for it are the 12% damage as extra damage of all elements. It definitely affects the Trample Toes explosions. You can see that when the enemies blow up frozen. They don't blow up frozen without that rune, so definitely take that. That's ends up being 36% extra damage, so that's very, very important to get a 2-socket Sky Sliver with those 2 runes in it. On your helmet, you want a Deepest Tower, preferably with at least plus 20 Spirit. Plus 30 Spirit is going to be super, super expensive. Somewhere you're going to need a plus 1% maximum fire resistance rune, so I stuck that in the helmet. On the neck, Astramentis isn't actually the best neck. The best neck would be plus 3 melee skills with all attributes, strength, life, and then pick your poison to some rarity or something, or an Astramentis. The Astramentis is probably going to be cheaper than that neck. This solves a load of skill points problems, allows you to run higher level skill gems, particularly useful for the vulnerability aura. So Astramentis is a good pick because it allows you to run almost max level vulnerability, so would suggest grabbing one of those. Chernobogs, this is basically mandatory. If you can get a 2-socket one, that's great. If not, if you can get crinkled one with more fire resistance, that's also really good. More chaos resistance, that's also really good. The main thing is that you have one. On your chest plate, you want to be getting a plain ornate plate with as high regen as you can, preferably corrupted to either have 3 sockets, or I like the 20% of damage taken recouped as life, but pick what you want. It just needs to be an ornate plate with as high max regen as you can get. On the rings, this is where you're going to be able to find you can probably save something. We don't really benefit from flat damage on this build. Get all attributes, strength, fire resistance. Then on the top lines, max life, accuracy rating. You can deal with your accuracy rating with the rings. That's normally quite a good way to do things. So a couple of rings like that. Attributes, strength, fire resistance. They're the main 3 things to look at. If you can get life on the top lines as well, that's great. On the gloves, you want plus 2 melee skills, strength, fire resistance, max life, accuracy rating. Kind of like the rings, but with melee skills. For your boots, you're going to want Trample Toes. Now, you can get 2 sockets of these and get 10% increased movement speed, or indeed even 40% increased presence area. I got Kringle Crop one, which is slightly more movement speed and slightly more overkill damage. It seemed to actually increase the clear quite a lot, so I would actually recommend trying to get some Kringled with increased overkill damage. Then, on the belt, you've got choices here. You can run a Headhunter. It works fine. However, you will be... If you get hit by like a fireball from a breach monster or something, it might kill you because you won't have the 90% all res. You also don't need to run a 3% max res, 5%. You don't need to run an 8% max res Inferno class, but you can get one that's not quite this good and then just shore up with some skill points. So if you manage to only get, say, one that had 6% on it, you could drop a couple of skill points from the low life nodes, and then you've got some points up here where you can get back up to max fire resistance, so do consider that. This is a reasonably expensive piece to get it with 8% and over 40% fire res. On the charms, you want to be running, I'm not pronouncing that, the Ruby Charm that grants you up to maximum rage when you take fire damage from a hit. If we couple that with what we've got on the skill tree, we're going to make sure that we're quite often taking fire damage from hits, and therefore we've always got max rage. Then we top it up by having our +1 max rage from a jewel. The Forsaken Bangle, Amethyst Charm's pretty good for recovering from chaos hits. Really, really good for King of the Mists. And then we can still get frozen. We can't get stunned, although it's still really hard for us to get frozen too. But the Thawing Charm's good in the last slot. And for your health potion, a health flask with instant recovery is great. If you can afford an Ulrith's, then throw an Ulrith's on. It works really well too. That's the gear. So that's the character. That's the setup. All in the description if you want to check the written guide, but let's showcase this thing through some endgame content. Alright then guys, let's showcase this in a map. So I've found an area with +1 monster level, with irradiated, and we've got a tier 16 Waystone. So, with some delirium on it, 24% delirious. For extra pack size, I wanted more pack size. Didn't have very good tier 16 maps, this one was probably the best. But let's get to it. There's no point in waiting around, we will just get right on it. Don't do an Elon, make sure you get your Chaos Orbs. Then we'll get judged for missing Chaos Orbs. get those Val orbs off the loot filter though. Let's go the other way. Oh god, that guy's about to explode. That's right, I said everything else. Oh my god, the screen's... Oh, everything's lagging. It clears the breach pretty well. Gets around the maps quite fast as well, considering it's got 13% move speed at base with these boots. Don't get me wrong, it's no flash, but it's alright. This is the first character I've wanted to play with WASD instead of mouse. Oh god. See, the damage definitely comes from the trample toe explosions. If you end up with a rare by itself, you have to hit it a bunch of times. You end up with a few monsters around them, they just boom, everything. Boom, headshot, boom, headshot. Everybody runs faster with the knife, you know? Boom, headshot. Oof. Shrines are the best. Well, not for my CPU. Shield charge into battle, no problem. You're not ready? Well, get ready, punk. Yeah, the shield charge is enough damage as well to trigger the trample toes. Where we've got this set up, so you can kind of use either. Also, if you are juggling maps, you can switch Sunder into the totems. Later on in the video, I'm probably going to say you can use that for bosses. I'm an R-ing, really. Rolling Slam's definitely more damage. Sunder's just more consistent, regardless of what the boss is doing. But Rolling Slam's definitely more damage if you can position everything right and use them at the right time. It's a bit more skill-based. I say skill-based, you put down the totems and then you run around and dodge abilities, right? That's bossing on this thing. What are these fellas doing? Where's your buddies? Acting like a map boss. And there you go. That's mapping with it. It's pretty fast. When you consider its movement speed is 13.2%, it actually gets a little bit of speed up through the maps, which gets it around quite fast. But anyway, let's showcase this thing on a couple of tier 4 bosses. Can do tier 4 bosses, as long as you know how to deal with the abilities, know when to dodge. So let's get that showcase now. Alright then, let's take this thing to a breach. Tier 4 breach. This time with the correct gem setup. I didn't do wrong with the wrong gem setup. That took ages at all. Doesn't happen. Mistakes don't happen. More enemies there are, the better. If they're not close enough, sometimes the explosions don't chain properly. Try and gather up a little collection of them. A little teleport forward on Rake is okay, but it's not super fast. finally gave us a rare to kill. I think that was the first one. There was a couple in that group. Just exploded. And then we've caught up with the thing. Perfectly fast enough. It's alright if you can get some shield charge off, but sometimes you get really unlucky and there's just a little guy running in the shadows and your shield charge just ends short. You can use Leap Slam, but then you have to swap to the secondary maces and it just doesn't feel good. So sometimes you land and get hit and you're still with the 2 maces out, and then that really sucks in maps. Interesting how the loot drops. Killed that rare after this loot had spawned, and it just spawned its addition to the loot pile.
In the right hands, this could forge something truly.
Knowledge. Not. Oh, I should take that great hammer. What if it's +7 melee skills? Should we check it right now? It's not. We should put it right on the floor. All right, it's boss time. So this is where the real magic happens. This is the build in its glory. I might be lying. It's a warrior with maces. It does what it does. Damn it. You got the fists off. With it. Well, so you can kill the bosses, and it does do quite a lot of damage once you've got the vulnerability up, so long as both of the rolling slams hit the boss. I find Sunder a little bit more consistent, but you can get some really big damage hits off with rolling slam, particularly if you get them like stuck up here and stuff like that. Anyway, let's go do another boss. I'm going to show you can kill all the bosses. You just have to kind of do it in the vision compliant way. All right then, guys, let's do a tier 4 audience. So, see how this fight goes. I'm sure it'll be fine. Get a bit of armor break going on. Oh, which totem's he gone to? That one? No. Ray. So yeah, you can, because the turrets do most of the damage, the totems, you can mostly just run around and dodge stuff. 200 maces really don't seem like they've got that much killing potential, but I didn't want to go spears as well. I kind of wanted them to feel a bit like a warrior. And totems seem okay. Like, they give you a lot of affordability for just paying attention to what's going on, which is nice. if you want some vision compliant combat. It's a bit busy. Let's probably get rid of those. Don't get him while he's stunned. Ugh, don't walk into that. I will keep running, I will. So yeah, the totems just kind of deal with it. Just run around, just dodge the stuff. It actually makes the boss fights kind of, I don't know, interesting. Why not? The bosses have got some good abilities. But yeah, that's it. Doing bosses, can do them. Once you've got it up to sort of standard, does enough damage, the totems do enough. It's pretty fun round mapping. And it's a warrior build that uses spears to stomp his feet. So that's that, guys. Hope you've enjoyed this build. If you have, don't forget to give the video a like. It really helps. And if you're not subscribed yet, we're almost at 10k, guys. It's been absolutely amazing, all the support. So thank you very much. And I will catch you in the next video.